What is up, everyone? Thank you for joining us on the Red and Gold Standard podcast. Unfortunately, Zach has been under the weather for most of the week, but we wish him well. We hope he comes back soon. Hopefully, he'll be back for the preview show. We will do that Saturday night. But for now, my name is Matt. I am joined by my co-host for the evening, the ever-illustrious, the man, the myth, the legend himself from Nothing But Niners, Mr. Mike Andrews. Mike, how you doing tonight, my man?
What's going on, man? I am recovering from my very own Shannon Sharp incident. I posted something that I was not supposed to post on my YouTube page, but it's something that we'll get to later on. I'll fill you in a little bit more about it as we get to it. But I'm doing well, man, or as well as could be, in high spirits, and that's what I'm focused on right now.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we got a lot to cover because regular season football is back. The 49ers played on Monday night against the New York Football Jets, and it was a dominant victory for the 49ers, if I do say so, 32-19, but really there was a garbage time touchdown where they went for two at the end. Essentially, for all intents and purposes, starters versus starters, this game was 32-13. An absolutely dominant showing by the 49ers on both sides of the ball. They clearly look like one of the best teams in the NFL. Mike, what were your initial impressions of the victory? What stood out to you?
Well, to be honest with you, the first thing that stood out to me was just the kicker. I didn't even realize that we kicked as much as we did until like the game was over. But he marched out there with all the confidence in the world every single time. And even the one that bounced in, I don't know what I was doing when it happened live. I didn't even realize that it bounced in like that, or off the upright. I shouldn't say it bounced in because he had plenty of distance on it. But that's what the encouraging thing was. He had two or three of them for 50 yards or more, and they were all plenty of distance to spare. This young man seems to. Now, I'm not going to say he has his mojo. I don't think he ever lost it, but I think he's going to get some people off of his back with the performance that he had.
No, I agree with you, and I believe that Moody field goal that he bounced in was like a 50+ yarder. I think it was the 53 yarder that he kicked. So plenty of distance on that. And again, like you said, bounced off the upright, went in. Sometimes you get those ones, you know what I mean? And that's perfectly fine. But he was 6 of 6 on the day for field goals, 2 for 2 on extra points. Really, really great showing for him in his sophomore outing. And I think I've been on the train of let this man learn how to kick in the NFL because, again, college hashes are 25 yards wide, whereas in the NFL, I think they're like 10 yards wide or something like that. It's a stark difference. The atmospheres with which you're kicking are completely different. So, something to really pay attention to, but I'm really, really glad that he was able to come out and show well. The 49ers definitely needed the leg. A little bit of unevenness from certain players, and we'll get into that. But one man that I thought performed really well and actually got even a little praise from some of his staunchest haters was Brock Purdy, 19 of 29, 231 yards. Could have been more. Probably should have had a touchdown pass. We'll come to that in a little bit. But overall, I thought Brock Purdy did a really good job. The first drive was a little rough, and then he had like one drive late in the third, early in the fourth that was kind of like not the best. But beyond that, very, very efficient, very accurate, getting the ball out on time. I think that him playing in those preseason games actually got him off to a good start because when we look around the league, a lot of quarterbacks played really bad in week one, and he was one of the better ones that we saw. So what were your impressions of Purdy? What'd you think?
No, I thought he looked calm, cool, and collected out there. And then I saw this tweet. I think it was Dan Orlovsky, or maybe it was I would have to let me go back to my page really quick. But a former quarterback breaking down some of his passes and how he was throwing before players got out of their breaks and the placement of his passes.
It was Dan Orlovsky, yeah.
Oh my God. He called them marshmallows. I got so much pleasure watching those clips, and it's just those are the little things that we as fans don't always appreciate. And those are the reasons why the Niners are going to have to pay that kid $65 million. I mean, he just drops back the timing and the rhythm with all the different receivers that he was making these passes to. It wasn't like it was just one person over and over that he was doing it to. No, he had that kind of rhythm and timing with multiple players out there on the field, some new faces out there even making those passes and catches and receptions in time. It was really, really good to see. Brock Purdy is going to be fine. I mean, he didn't have the touchdowns that we were hoping for, but You don't need to when your team is playing and performing that well.
No, absolutely. Although I do think that being, 20 for 30 with 250 and a touchdown is a little bit more of a, pleasure to the stat line. And, no shade, but like we talked about, I thought that Brandon Ayuk was going to have a hard time adjusting in his first game back, and there was a little bit of growing pains. I mean, that drop ball in the end zone being one of them, that was a perfectly thrown pass. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. That was a drop in the bucket that should have been caught, and Brandon Ayuk from last year does catch that ball. Contract dispute, Brandon Ayuk obviously dropped it, so hopefully he can round into shape before too long.
That goes to the point that you were making about just a couple of participation games in preseason, or even a joint practice, right? Like, I know we didn't get a chance to do it as a team, but those live type reps, where the game is sped up just a little bit more as opposed to what's happening in practice, those are the situations when it really, really helps. Again, it's the timing and all that. That's what we were worried about, being off a little bit, and showed for sure. It absolutely showed.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, that's not to say that he didn't have some good plays. He did have some good receptions. There's a particular, like a sail route to the sideline that I thought he did really, really well on. Overall, he finished the day with, let's see here, Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches for 28 yards. The leading receiver for the 49ers was Juwan Jennings, 5 catches for 64 yards, followed by Debo, 5 catches, 54, and then Kittle, 4 for 40.
Shout out to Juwan for being the best wide receiver 2 games in a row now for the 49ers. Yeah, I took it all the way back to the Super Bowl. That's right.
There you go. No, and he did a very good job of getting first downs when they need to. He is a chain chewer, that's for sure. He gets open in those zones and he fights for the yards. Missed 1 first down close to the end zone that they settled for a field goal on. I thought he did a little bit too much dancing. I thought he could have got upfield a little bit, but that's one of those things where it's, again, it's early. Overall in the offense, I thought that most people did a good job. A special shout out to Dominic Pooney, who was absolutely phenomenal in his rookie debut. He absolutely chewed people up and was making gigantic holes for Jordan Mason, who, again, another standout. I can't speak highly enough of the ability of him, and we'll talk about this later, but whether it was Friday, whether it was, Monday night, doesn't really matter. Jordan Mason kind of provided what we all thought he could if given the opportunity, which was a north and south bruising running style and just chewing up yards left and right. And shout outs to him for being able to do that. I thought it was funny where he had said that, or I guess he had not had that many carries since he was in high school. Not even at Georgia Tech did he have that many carries in a game. Finished 28 carries, 147 yards, and that touchdown. Beautiful, beautiful game. That's 5.2 yards per carry. Again, filling in. Christian McCaffrey said after the game he was proud of Jordan Mason. I think everybody was. Overall, great job by the offense. Anyone else that you want to shout out on the offense that you thought did particularly well?
George Kittle. I was a little worried with how he was going to be. I know that he was nursing something, and George actually went out there and did things that George needed to do. I was not disappointed with him at all. And I know I'm someone that's normally hard on George Kittle. It wasn't necessarily about all of the stats, but I mean, he did finish the game with what I think 3 or 4 receptions, right? Kittle, where is he at?
Yeah.
Where is he? Yeah, 4 receptions, 40 yards. I mean, George was just being the consistent tight end that we need over here in San Francisco.
Yeah. Absolutely. It wasn't all roses, though. I think that there was some bad play from the 49ers on the offensive side of the ball. I hate to keep bringing him up, but Colt McKivitz is a liability. He had multiple penalties that were very costly, and a couple of Olay plays, right, that, allowed a little bit of pressure to get in. There was, in particular, the first quarter, there was that flat or that corner route that Debo ran, that Brock Purdy had to kind of drift to his left and throw off a back foot because Colt just got beat immediately, and Pooney tried to come over and help him, but at that point it was a little too late.
Yeah.
And then listen, guys.
Well, while you're on Colt though, you're on Colton, he did have some good plays. I saw him get into the second level a lot. He was blocking well when he was blocking well in the run game in particular. Like he was doing his
I've
thing.
Never had a problem with Colt McKivitz in the run game. It's always been pass protection. And when it came down, again, if we're going to take it all the way back to the Super Bowl, Mike, like you did, that right side of the offensive line was a big problem. So
speaking of the right side of the offensive line,
I wanted to give you the opportunity.
Spencer Burford moved to the left and played really, really well, we might be looking at the future starting left guard. And he said it felt natural to be back at his natural spot. So that's something that we definitely have to acknowledge and see what's going to happen there while Aaron Banks is taking care of himself.
And thank goodness for that, because, again, Aaron Banks has started to become one of these guys that you can count on to miss 2 or 3 games a season with something. So I hate to put it out there like that, but that's just how it is. Now, I do have to talk about a moment that really pissed me off, and it was early in the game. Debo Samuel. Now, I said what I said last week. I'm standing on that. Debo had an okay game. I will say an okay game. When you get 13 touches and you have less than 100 yards, I don't think that's your best performance. 5 catches, 54 yards in the passing game, 8 carries for 23 yards and a touchdown in the running game. And he almost fumbled that touchdown, by the way.
Yeah,
but
77 total yards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not great. That's not great on 13 touches. But the biggest issue for me was early in the first quarter. I think it was Brock's second or third pass that he ran kind of like a Texas route, where he came out of the backfield and made that out towards the corner and then came back in. And Brock Purdy put the ball on him. Defender made a nice play. And then immediately afterwards, he comes out and he does like this. Like
lead me.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, Debo, he did lead you. It was out in front of you. It wasn't to your body. It was to your hands out in front. Perfectly thrown pass. The defender made a great play, and sometimes that happens. Here's where I have the problem. 1, don't show up your quarterback, first of all. 2, that wasn't a cornerback that you were on. That was a linebacker. Why are you
should have had separation?
Why are you unable to separate from a linebacker? That's on you, Debo. That's on you. And this is what I was talking about in the preseason when I saw him not being able to separate, and he didn't get separation all night. The one play that he broke that was wide open because of the scheme, and the second one was a sideline pass where the defender overran him. And those were the 2 big plays that he had on the passing game.
Yeah.
This is going to be a problem if Brandon Ayuk, while Brandon Ayuk is trying to round into form. What I'm hoping is that when Ricky Pearsall comes back, you have another speedy guy that can get out there and really work in space. And then that'll open things up for Debo. But Debo on his own as just a wide receiver cannot separate. And if you can't separate and you can't beat a linebacker, you sure as shit shouldn't be showing up your quarterback. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. When he put it out in front of you, what do you want him to do? Like throw it so far out in front of you that you can't run to catch it? Like that was a perfectly thrown pass. I don't know what to tell Debo, but you got to be better. And I almost guarantee you that when they go over the film, someone's going to get in his ass about showing up Brock Purdy like that. Cause that's not it, man.
But you're all right. Now I don't know if anyone's going to say anything to Debo. I think Debo's kind of got that Kyle Shanahan protection blanket over him. I don't know if anyone's going to say anything to him. Who's going to be the person to say something to him? They're going to tell him that he was the backup running back in this game, and that drove me crazy. Every time he was in the backfield, he got the ball.
Oh man, there was a point right before the 2-minute warning where Mason had just had a couple of touches in a row, and I saw Garendo in there, and then the 2-minute warning hit, and then I saw Mason jog back on the field, and I was like, shit, we could have had something there. But oh well.
Yep.
Well, he'll get there eventually.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see who plays this upcoming week, and we'll get to that on Saturday, I know. But I absolutely agree with what you were saying about Debo. He has to be better as far as a route runner, and again, coming in and out of those breaks, he needs to be a little bit more crisp, and that's how you get the separation. A lot of the time, again, if you watch that video that Orlovsky posted on Twitter or X, sorry, if you watch that video, he's throwing the ball to spots where the receivers are going to, not where they are. And so if you can't get that if you can't get that separation, then you're making his job harder. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
and
no, definitely.
Tua is down.
Uh-oh. Well, that might be the best thing that happens to the Dolphins because he's playing like shit. No, we don't want to see anybody go down. I hope he's okay. Yeah, just the Debo thing. Again, it annoys me, and like I'm gonna look for this while kind of play it in the background, but I want to let's see if I can find it. One of the guys that I really enjoy is QB School JT O'Sullivan, and JT O'Sullivan right there with me with Debo Samuel. The dude runs the laziest fucking routes, like the worst fucking routes. I don't understand. Like he pitter patters, and it's just I don't know, man.
Yeah. Now, while you're looking for it, I do want to say that Debo definitely has a role on this team. So I don't want anyone to think that we just like.
I'm not saying that like I'm just listen. I know he can be better. So if you're getting paid what Debo's getting paid, if you held out for what you held out for, like you need to do more than what you were doing. Like the effort. It's the effort thing, right? Like I never have to worry about Brandon Ayuk, and there were things that were pointed out with Brandon Ayuk too. Yes, he dropped that touchdown pass. But did you see when he went to go to the corner that the corner had outside leverage and Ayuk still beat him?
And he still
beat him and created separation. That's the type of stick your fucking foot in the ground and make a move rather than doing this like breakdown pitter patter feet. Like no one thinks you're gonna blow by them, Debo. No one thinks you're gonna blow by them. You ain't that fast. You were a 4-5 guy coming out of South Carolina.
But
you're 30 years old now.
He's very similar to George Kittle in the sense that once they get the ball in their hands, they can run away with people because they know angles.
Yeah.
They know angles. But you would think that if you know angles so well, that's how you create the separation in the NFL. Jawan Jennings is slower than Debo, and Jawan Jennings creates separation. When he puts his foot in the ground to come out of that break, boom, 3 yards of immediate separation. He fakes one way or feints one way, and then he puts his foot in the ground and goes the other, and then boom, there's that immediate separation. I mean, I don't know. This takes me all the way back to Debo's second year, maybe third year in the league, and they asked him if he watches film of Cooper Kupp. I don't know if you remember this, and he was like, "No, I don't watch film of any other receivers because none of them can do what I do." And it's like, dude, that's gonna come back and bite you in the butt. I said it the moment he said that. I'm like, oh, I can't believe you even like uttered those words. Larry Fitzgerald talked about watching other people run. You know what I'm saying? You see guys like. All right, he's walking off of the field on his own. Well, that's a good thing, but he's definitely not. He doesn't have his helmet to it. But everybody watches film of other receivers to try to improve their own game, and it's like it's just something that I couldn't believe he said that.
Yeah, no, definitely. How do we do this shit? Oh my god, hold on, we'll get there eventually, guys.
Are you changing the background?
Yeah.
The overlay.
There we go. Is that the one? I don't know. Here, we'll just do this one. That's fine. Hey, everybody will get the point right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So I have it on quarter speed. Oh, that's not the one. Oh my god, what happened? Oh, there we go. Here we go. Right here. Like, where the fuck is he supposed to put that ball? The linebacker made an incredible play.
He did. Yes.
Like,
great play by the defense.
But again, this is the problem. Why is that linebacker in your pocket like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that ball is right there. Like what? And by the way, 22 is coming down to clean your shit. So like he's even protecting you a little more by putting it where I mean that's perfectly thrown. That's just a good play by the defender, and there's gonna be those sometimes, and you just kind of have to deal with that. You know what I mean? But for him to be like, put it out in front. I mean, that is out in front. It's not on your back shoulder. It's out in front. It's not even on your body. It's out in front of you. Like, I don't know what else,
right.
But you have to separate from a linebacker. Like you just
absolutely
have to. That's the rules.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, the 49ers offense was rolling. They looked pretty good. I did see a tweet that I disagreed with. Despite how good the 49ers offense looked, I saw someone say, the Niners are in midseason form already. And I was like, that is not true.
No.
And nobody on the 49ers team would say that 6 field goal attempts is midseason form. I mean, if you just get 2 more touchdowns, I mean, look at what the difference is going to be in score. You got 8 more points there. You drop in a 40 burger on your first opening night, like against a really good Jets defense, by the way. Like we just made the Jets look average at best. You know what I mean? So I thought that the offense, while they were good and very efficient as far as moving the ball, what was it, 8 consecutive scoring drives the offense had? So they did look good, but trust me, this is not midseason form, and the league is in
No.
trouble.
Yep, they would have got touchdowns in midseason form for sure.
Oh,
yeah. So just real quick, because I do worry about this kind of stuff, and it looks like Tua lowered his head to finish a run and another concussion.
Yeah.
And yep, yeah. I mean, honestly, man, damn. How do you keep playing if you're gonna? I mean, these are bad concussions too. He didn't do quite as bad as that one time, but he definitely had fencing posture again, and it's not great.
Right.
But okay, on to the 49ers defense. Positives there. Listen, Fred Warner, despite being on the injury report, that man flies around like a psychopath, dude, and I love every second of it. And I'm going to go out on a limb here right now. He's well on his way to becoming the best 49ers linebacker in history, bar none. Bar none. Bar none. Tackles, can cover, forces turnovers, athletic sideline to sideline guy. All he has to do for me is to play one more season than Patrick Willis, and he will be the best linebacker in 49ers history. If he gets to 10 seasons, you know what I mean? Like, because
I'm not going to disagree.
I love Patrick Willis, right? But if you fast forwarded him to today, I don't know if he would be as effective just because of how much faster the game is in the 10 years since he retired or whatever, or I guess it's 8 years since he retired.
Yeah.
The game has sped up and spread out so much that I don't know. It's a different game. You know what I mean? Like it is from the hitting aspect, from the way that, they tackle, from the way that, coverages and offenses run to beat coverage. I just don't know that he has the coverage aspect of it. I think would be what I worry about. Obviously great against the run, obviously heavy hitter, forces turnovers, all that stuff. I love Patrick Willis. Definitely.
Well, Patrick Willis, he was also very good at eliminating tight ends when they asked him to. I think one of the most underrated things about him was his speed. And so I'm not saying that he couldn't do it. He just wasn't asked to do it in the sense that that Fred Warner is asked to do it. And so Fred Warner also, that safety, converted to linebacker, so that speed aspect was always there. He's a smaller guy, but I'm saying smaller as far as weight and all goes in comparison to a guy like Patrick Willis. But it's tough. It's the difference in eras, so to speak. So yeah,
Melissa, I love you, but that's crazy talk. But I mean, Dre Greenlaw gets. I don't know. Like, did you see the thing in the pregame speech where Fred Warner's like, we're out here to whoop ass or whatever, whoop some motherfucking ass. And then Garrett Wilson was like, yeah, they whooped our ass.
They whooped our ass. Yeah, I saw the cut ups. I was like, oh man, like it verbatim almost. Like that's funny, man.
He got him. So Fred Warner played well. I thought Malik Collins played really well. Very, very disruptive. Loved having that there. Leonard Floyd got the only sack of the day for the 49ers. I thought he played well. I thought that Nick Bosa, even though he didn't get any sacks,
he was dominant out there.
I'm telling you what, these motherfuckers literally strangled his ass and still didn't get called for holding. It's ridiculous. The only hold call that was made was against Nick Bosa when Leonard Floyd got the sack anyway, so they declined the penalty. But it's crazy. I just, really, really good. Yeah, go ahead.
It's something that we're just going to have to stop expecting. And if they're going to do it, I mean, the Niners have to petition somebody somewhere to do something. It is what it is. But the defense as a whole, they were sweltering. I mean, that defense was all over the place. They did all the advanced metrics and numbers and all that. And Aaron Rodgers got rid of the ball faster than any quarterback that played on Sunday. I think they said it was 2.3 seconds or something like that was his.
Yeah, almost no time to throw. He just time to throw was almost no time at all for the pass rush to get home for sure.
And if you look at WhatsApp, I sent a graphic in there. They completely locked down the entire side of the field. Aaron Rodgers almost exclusively threw to his left. He only had 2 pass attempts that were beyond 15 yards. One of them was the free play, which if there's one thing I wish our offense would implement, it's that, like taking advantage of either the 12 men on the field or the free play type of thing. Those are the things that really, really make me feel good. I mean, look at that passing chart.
Yeah.
Only to the left, everything short.
Yep.
I mean, this is, and again, that one dot that's down there, that one touchdown was the free play.
On a free play. And let me get this out of the way real quick. I think a lot of that on the free play was that the 49ers, I think, expected that play to be blown dead because Leonard Floyd was unabated to the quarterback. If that was the 49ers on offense, they probably would have blown that dead. But Aaron Rodgers gets that benefit of the doubt. He's probably told the referees, hey, don't fucking unabated the quarterback. I don't care. Let me have that play. You know, it's the reason why he has so many of those touchdown passes. So, like you said, definitely kept him under wraps. Really interesting about the right side of the field. He also only threw to Lazard, Wilson, and Breece Hall. Those were the only three people that he targeted all night. He finished 13 of 21, 167, a touchdown and a pick. Shout outs to Diamador Lenore that tipped that bad boy up into the air. I believe it was Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles that came down with the interception. So 49ers won the turnover battle 2-0. I thought that was a big deal. Now, I do want to say there was one drive that kind of made you go, oh, shit, the Jets are here. It was that late first quarter, early second quarter drive. And I do want to say that Devondre Campbell does need to get a little bit up to speed on his zone coverages because he was playing a little bit to the sideline and allowing Garrett Wilson to get behind him. Not really – his zones weren't as locked as we'd like to see them. And to Melissa's point, big fan of Dre Greenlaw. I think Dre Greenlaw is actually better in those types of pass coverages. So I think that not having him out there was a little bit of a downer there.
Yeah. When you talk about some of the other things that stood out on defense as well, I had to go back and look at wait, who was number 22? And it was oh man, that's Yidam. Like he actually looked. He looked good out there. This is the guy that I was hoping that we would see a lot more of. When we got him and Yassin as in free agency, I was like, Yidam is going to be the guy. I'm telling you guys right now, it's going to be him. A lot of people were really hyped up on Rock coming in, and I'm like, I'm telling you guys, it's not him. It's the other guy you got to look at. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be him. So it was really good to see him go out there and do his thing. I was just happy for the 49ers as a whole. You said, that one drive, though, that really bothered me. They converted 3rd and 7 or longer every time. I don't know if we were going soft. I don't know what the reason was behind it, but 3rd and 7 or longer, they just consistently converted it. Now, if 3rd and 4, nothing. They couldn't do it. But those 3rd and 7s or longers, they just kept converting them. Specifically on that drive, it was driving me crazy, man. I was like, how this is like the Niners of last year. This is what the issue was, right? Great on 1st and 2nd down. You can keep a team in 3rd and long, and then you shit the bed on 3rd and long. Like that's when you want that. Like most teams would kill for that. Most teams would kill to get opposing teams in 3rd and longs, and we just give it up like it's nothing. And I'm like, oh, we got to stop this.
It was all to Garrett Wilson. Like it was literally pass after pass after pass to Garrett Wilson to be like, and Nathaniel Hackett catches a lot of shit, and rightfully so. This was vanilla as shit offense. This was like run the ball 1st and 2nd down, 3rd and long, Aaron throw the ball, and then it was Garrett Wilson getting loose on that drive in particular. So, yeah, I thought
and one of them. Ambry Thomas even got his arm up. It was just a phenomenal catch. Ambry Thomas got his arm up in between there.
Who?
Lenore. I don't know why I said Ambry Thomas.
Yeah, wow. No, Lenore had perfect coverage, and they actually went back to that throw later against Yedem, who didn't have as good a coverage, and it was a little more open. But yeah, Diamador and Lenore had his his hand was basically face guarding the guy. The ball touched the back of his hand, and he just couldn't knock it loose. So yeah, I thought that was absolutely great coverage, just a better throw and catch from Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. That's one of those where you look at it, you go, Lenore, hell of a job. Like, move on to the next rep. That shit happens sometimes.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have played it.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have played it. Scott Broyle said, yeah, Mike, did you see the very next drive we adjusted to man coverage? Wilkes would have given up 2 more touchdown drives and maybe adjusted a half.
Right. Yeah. And I did say that during the live stream on our Patreon. It was, way to make in game adjustments. You don't have to wait until the very next half. You can make in game adjustments for the
Yeah.
next series. And that's what I really like to see. Yep. So that was a very good comment there.
You can literally be like, okay, that shouldn't work. Let me try this other thing and see how we do with that. And you can do that back to
Hmm.
back drives and see which one you're getting better results, or even mix the two,
Yeah. Yep.
It's one of those where, the reaction time I think last year was a little bit slower, and I think that played a a role in that. Only other thing that I can think of go ahead.
I was going to say it was tough to get a read on how the safeties played because there wasn't a lot of stuff going downfield. The safeties weren't asked to do a whole lot in this game. So as much as I want to give shout outs to my guy Jair Brown, big jersey, it was just there was nothing going on back there.
The only thing that I will say, and I was actually going to get to that, the only thing I will say on the defense is that they really need to talk about with the players, hey, like on those plays, yes, we know it's a fucking penalty, but you play until you hear the whistle. Like, don't assume that the play is going to be blown dead. I think that was a big one because Jair Brown did get kind of caught ass out on that touchdown pass. Like, he just was late, covering that zone. So I do, and I can't remember who the corner was on that as well. I think it might have been Lenore, but yeah, I think that you have to play until you hear the whistle. You can't just assume, Floyd jumped across, and go from there. So other than that, I think that everybody played well. Special teams was pretty good. I don't think that the Jets got overly great field position, and that's the 49ers, I think, only punted the ball one time on the 3 and out and then had 8 straight scoring drives. So not really much to say on the kick or the punt team getting down there. But a good play was made. I can't remember who tackled on that play. But overall, I thought special teams was great. Again, Jake Moody with a great game. All 3 phases for the 49ers were working. And, they might not be in midseason form, but they were in like week 3 form, I will say, compared to the rest of the NFL that looked like we haven't done shit all off season. So, it was amazing watching the Sunday games, how sloppy it was just all the way around. Just a lot of bad football where you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And that's the reality of the new NFL when you don't want people to get hurt. So all of your veterans, all of your stars, almost none of them play. But the couple of quarterbacks that did play that looked pretty good, Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy.
Yeah. And, the third phase of the game for the Niners is the one that I was the most concerned with. And they looked phenomenal. They were great. I don't have any complaints. I don't often give kudos to our special teams since the acquisition of Schneider, but man, oh man, they looked the part. These rookies are out there making very, very good. Yeah, there you go. Very good contributions on special teams.
Bernardo Green on special teams, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were out there doing their thing, man, and even some of the returns that we ran back. The one punt by Mitch Wisnowski was almost a 60-yard punt. Like that was phenomenal. I think it was 58 yards. Yeah, 58 yards. So that was good. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it, man. Can't hear you.
Ian Sharp brings up a great point, and I want to make sure that we touch on this a little bit. The run defense looked very much improved over last year. They were getting penetration up the middle. Again, Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave also very disruptive in the run game. Looked very, very good. So shout outs to them. Scott says shout out to Tongas. Look great blocking at tight end too. That's going to be big in the run game. And for Kittle, who can now keep being used as receiver. Yeah, I mean, very, very good. Overall, I thought a very good game all the way around from the 49ers. Look, Hung Fat says shout out to Sorensen for a great coaching job. From the top down, I thought it was a really good game overall. And again, the Jets, they again have the propensity for being the goddamn Jets, and you go on you go on any New York forum or any New York radio or anything like that, and it's always a cry fest about how bad the Jets are and how they always break everybody's heart. But this team does have talent. They do have expectations. I think that the Jets will get better. I do think that it was a big ask for Aaron Rodgers to go to the defending NFC champions house on a Monday night after not having played a full game since January of 2023. And do that as your first game back with no preseason, with none of that stuff. So he did look a little rusty. I don't know, man. I still, this wasn't a scrub team. It wasn't like the New Orleans Saints beating up on a piss poor Carolina team who looks like they're going to get the first pick in the draft the third straight year. You know, we don't know how good New Orleans is because it's just like, but this was the defending NFC champions. How are they going to look coming off of the Super Bowl? And they look like they are back with a vengeance. And between the pain of losing that Super Bowl and the togetherness that comes with the unfortunate circumstance of the Ricky Pearsall incident, I think that this can galvanize a team, and iron sharpens iron. And I think the 49ers are off to a great start so far.
You know, I felt that same exact way until the presser that came out from, and the Niners removed it from their page, but
we're going to talk about it.
Beat writers and the people that were there got it all there. So I felt the same exact way. The Ricky Pearsall thing was going to galvanize us and drive us and unite the team, and just like that, we got some controversy that might shake things up a little bit from a player's perspective.
Absolutely. Guys, if you don't know what we're talking about, down on the field after the game, there was an interview done with Jordan Mason, who had a hell of a game. And they asked him when he first found out that he was starting, and he said Friday. And then cut forward to Kyle Shanahan's press conference. Kyle Shanahan was like, I didn't tell him he was starting on Friday. And then later on, not on the on-field interview, but the press conference after the field, Jordan Mason came up and was visibly upset and said as much. You know, I'm upset because I'm answering these questions, you know, getting these questions and stuff. So I don't know if he got a dressing down in the back or if he felt like somebody took advantage of him in the interview. I can't say for sure. I'm sure Kyle said something to him. Maybe John said something to him like, hey, man, we got to button that stuff up. You know, like we can't be saying shit like that about like, hey, when you're learning this and this and that. No league intervention just because, you know, if you tell a player, first of all, Christian McCaffrey's been on the injury report. It's not like they hid that or anything like that. But, you know, whether it was Friday or whether it was Sunday, you know, I see it both ways, right? Mason should be a little bit more buttoned up, have a little bit more media training, you know. Oh man, like, you know, I know that, you know, this and this and that, but I was just always ready to go no matter when they called my number, whatever, right? And rather than specifying a time, you give that media speak or whatever. I know that Kyle Shanahan was saying that, you know, Christian McCaffrey tried to go during like, you know, earlier in the day during like warmups and stuff like that. They decided to pull the plug. But just because a guy is on the injury report and you tell another guy that he's starting doesn't mean that maybe they would have, you know, had Christian McCaffrey for like third down plays or something like that, right? So there's no real nefarious aspect to that. It's more the between the coaches and between the player, they weren't communicating well on what they were going to tell the media. And of course, shit rolls downhill, so the player is going to be left ass out on that, which is unfortunate because what should have been the best day of Mason's NFL career turned out to be soured because of, you know, the media and what went on there.
Yeah, the guy was holding back tears. This was a kid that was supposed to be having his biggest moment. This was supposed to be a fun and glorious presser while he was out there on the field, and he said Friday and all that stuff. Debo interrupts and drops the top 10 chain around his neck, and then here comes Hufanga with the lei or the beads and drops those on his neck, and he gets to the podium, and he's damn near in tears. He's like, that question right there is why I'm mad. This is why I don't like talking to media. That question right there. And he's just like, you know, next question. Like, no, next question. And then they just wrapped it up. They were like, forget it. Like, he's visibly upset. He doesn't want to be here. And people always are like, I remember when Marshawn Lynch did his whole thing. I'm only here so I don't get fined. This is exactly why. These football players don't care about the politics involved in the sport aspect. And I'm not talking about literal politics. I'm talking about football politics. Because if the team knew that Christian McCaffrey wasn't going to play, if they knew the injury was significant, and they didn't report it as such, they can get in trouble for it. And so they didn't want that word coming out that he was told that early. you know, because that means that they knew a lot earlier and so on and so forth, and they could get in trouble for it. But that's not on the players. You got if you have this guy who is having this kind of game, and it's so important that he doesn't say it, say something to him during the game. You know that the media is going to grab him after that kind of performance that he just had. Say something to him during the game. Say something to him as the clock strikes 0. Just grab him. Hey, really quick. Just don't say anything about when you knew you were going to start. You know, because he said everything else. I was the number 1 running back all of camp because Christian was out and Mitchell was out. You know, like he said all the other right things. You know, that was the one thing, and someone really laid into him to make him that upset, to go from the highest of highs to that low. Something was said to him.
So I think something was said. It doesn't necessarily have to be that somebody laced into him, but like maybe that he didn't realize like what he was doing, and then you know he comes across as a kid that would feel genuinely bad enough that it would like fuck up his day to think that he like hung the team out to dry. You know what I mean? Like it was like it could have been as simple as like, hey, like we really got to watch like what we say to the media. We don't want to have the league like sniffing around and asking about injuries and stuff like that. Just try next time to whatever. And then he could be like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize. And there are people that if they make that type of mistake, they will dwell on it. It will eat them up. And you know, by the time he gets back there, you know, and then all of a sudden maybe he has a veteran or two in his ear saying like, yeah, man, this is how the media fucks with you. This is how the media fucks you over. And this and this and that. And then by the time he gets to the podium, he's just over that shit. He's just like, the game is spoiled for him. He just wants to fucking go home. He doesn't want to say nothing to nobody. So I don't want to say that they absolutely like dressed him down or he's in a doghouse or anything. But, you know, obviously between, you know, somebody saying something to him and how it went down with the media, that's how he ended up feeling. And that's unfortunate.
We'll see what it is on Sunday. If he doesn't start on Sunday, we know it's politics.
Man, nah, he's going to start on Sunday because, listen, word on the street came out that Christian McCaffrey is doubtful for Sunday already. So, and if you were Kyle Shanahan and you were worried about Achilles tendonitis with Christian McCaffrey, you definitely ain't going to make him come back on turf. Like, you're not going to do that right off rip. So, I would expect Christian McCaffrey to be out again and Jordan Mason to get the start. So
let me ask you this little hypothetical because I don't expect Christian McCaffrey to play, and if he does, it won't be much. Right?
Sure.
Let's say he's out.
Okay.
What if Garindo gets the start, or they come out in a 3 wide receiver set and put Debo in the backfield, and they literally just don't give Mason the start? Would you agree that it's politics at that point and it was some kind of punishment?
Not necessarily with Debo. If Debo's just like if it's like the first play and like say Debo, they're in an empty set and Debo motions into the backfield, that I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, they're punishing him. If it's Garindo, absolutely, it would be a punishment. And if Mason gets any less than, 15 to 20 carries, I would say that he's in a doghouse for sure. Okay. But this is not unheard of, by the way, guys, for a team to not be completely open with the fact that a guy is not going to play when they're already on the injury report and game the system so that you don't allow the Jets to game plan for Christian McCaffrey not being there. That's all gamesmanship. They do that all the time. If you don't like it, then, maybe some of these owners and shit should petition the league to make inactives far earlier than what they are reported. So, but then again, that runs into the problem of, do you give a player a chance to go in warmups to see if he can go or not? So nothing's going to happen with that, I don't think. So, again, it's a teaching moment. I don't think it's something that necessitates punishing a player. You give them some media training, and then you just like, hey, let's go out and kick ass next week. It's all water under the bridge. We're going to watch film. What I'm hoping is that when they talk to him and then they went and watched film, they were able to kind of pump him back up, like, fucking good fucking run, JP. Like, this is the shit we're talking about, this and that. And then that kind of, it's water under the bridge. That's last week. We're not talking about that shit. We're going to Minnesota. We got to play a 10 a.m. game. We got to fly halfway across the country. This is what we do, and go from there. So,
yeah, well, we'll see what happens, man.
We will see. We are going to save the preview for the Minnesota game for this Saturday. Zach, hopefully we'll be back for that. Mike, anything else you want to touch on while we're here tonight?
Did you happen to catch any of the pressers from yesterday?
I did not.
Oh, man. So I thought it was pretty cool. They asked Brock Purdy if he had a bet with George Kittle because Iowa and Iowa State played each other.
I did see. Yes, I did see that, and I did see George in the Iowa State helmet. Yeah.
I thought that was freaking hilarious. They were like,
funny.
"Is that Brock's?" They were like, "Is that Brock's helmet?" He was like, "It sure smells like it." So I absolutely love seeing that, man. So that was, to me, that was really, really cool. That was
cool.
And
it's team building. It's all that little stuff, right? Like the story that Kittle tells of him on Brock's first day, like hanging an Iowa jersey in his locker, and Brock having the audacity to throw it out there and be like, "Get this crap out of here." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I guess the debate is the language that was used. Kittle said he cussed him out, and then Purdy was on eyes and it was like, "Yeah, I don't really cuss," so that didn't happen. But the rest of it did.
Right.
So
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, like again, these are the little things, and this is the other thing that I hope that like the Mason stuff was just water under the bridge. Is that you have these moments of levity too. It's a long season. You're going to go through things that are going to be up and down, and you're going to have good times and bad times. And there's going to be losses where people are going to get their asses chewed. Right. And you just hope that it doesn't derail a season. Obviously, we hope that, we know that for the most part, the 49ers are made of sterner stuff than that. So we'll see. But I'm looking forward to this game. 49ers haven't won in Minnesota since 1992. So yeah, that's a long time, man. So hopefully the team can get out there and whip some ass. Mike, anything else for tonight before we let the people go?
I don't think so, man. I gotta make it up to my people on Patreon. Like I said, that was my leak. I did a whole episode. I broke down multiple pressers from Jordan Mason and just his body language, the way he talks to media, how much he smiles and all that. I did it from the presser that we got with the jugs machine. I did the post game on the field, and then I showed that one. And then I even showed some more about, how Kyle tried to like cover it up and all that stuff, and just someone laid into him to change this kid's demeanor that much, and I made a mistake and posted it. I was supposed to be sharing it to my YouTube members only, and somehow it went out and,
wait, what was this?
So yeah. It was supposed to be a Patreon and YouTube members only video.
Okay.
So people who pay for the extra content.
I missed the subject. I'm trying to get all the brand stuff in order, bro.
No. It's all good. It's all good. So the subject was the Mason. I broke down all of how the young man acted and felt leading up to the game, and then the post game presser. And I broke all of that stuff down, and I made a mistake and somehow posted it on the YouTube for everyone to see. I had music in the back. You know how YouTube is about music and all that stuff. I wouldn't even have tried to put something like that out, but they got me. It's cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't overly worried about it. I have to just make it up.
I was expecting something way worse when you said you had your own Shannon Sharp moment, because Shannon Sharp's moment was fucking wild, brother.
Literally.
And again, did you see immediately after it was like, "Oh, my shit was hacked," and then like he was like, "Nah, I can't say."
He owned it. Yeah, he's like, "I can't. Yeah, I can't. I can't."
I think what he said was like somebody of his media team like logged in and said that his stuff was hacked, like as like a stopgap.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I like how he was on the podcast with Ocho Cinco and he was like, "Oh, Unc gonna get his." Like he was just like, "Yeah, I'm fucking." He's like, "Yeah, I'm fucking." Like, oh my god.
Oh man, no, it was a good game, man. I'm looking forward to more. I this defensive line for the Niners. I think we got something special here with those three guys there. Bosa, Collins, and oh my god, I'm blanking on the name. Floyd.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for them. And by the way, even Hargrave, right? Like not to exclude him. I told you guys how excited I was about Collins, and Collins is living up to all of it, man. He's taking what he did well in preseason and bringing it to the real games. It's just phenomenal, man. Absolutely phenomenal.
Viking Jerome, please come back this Saturday and pipe the same stuff. I know you're high on that Sam Darnold Kool-Aid, but you'll be all right, brother.
We've seen him.
We will see. We've seen him. Oh my God! Did you see the shit that Diamador Lenore said? He was like, "Me and Sam have this special connection. He always seemed to be throwing me the ball in practice."
Get it started. Let me tell you, I love that we have a trash talking DB on the team again. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So,
No, he
not
said
afraid to.
Purdy threw dimes. He was like, "Me and Sam had a special connection, though. He always be throwing me the ball in practice." He said that on an interview with 95.7 The Game.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was with, but yeah, he said that. Oh, real quick, Melissa brought it up because it was against Jawan Jennings. I think it was DJ Reed got away with a hip drop tackle.
Oh my God.
That they did not call, and again, kind of aggravated that ankle injury that Jennings had been playing with, and he was able to come back. So, but there was another moment earlier in the game where a Jets defender had an opportunity to potentially get a hip drop. It was on the Mason catch, and he ended up like letting go right before it was a hip drop. But DJ Reed committed an actual hip drop tackle, and it was just interesting that it wasn't called.
Yeah, it not only wasn't it called, because later in the game, I believe it was later, there was a missed call, and New York intervened and said, "Oh no, that's what it's supposed to be."
It was. I think it was. They called OPI against somebody blocking downfield for the 49ers, and it was like, I saw it immediately.
They called it on Juice. Yeah,
I was like, that was a backwards pass, dude. Like Mason, was behind the line of scrimmage. This is a rushing attempt.
Yep, and they removed it right away.
Was it Mason?
It was. I think it was Debo. I think it was Debo that had the play, and they changed it up right away.
Yeah.
And it was good to see New York chime in for that. Yes. And I just wish I don't know what they're allowed to do. I don't know if they're allowed to call a missed call in New York, so maybe that's what it was.
I feel like the NFL should deal with this, and this is good because we have another topic to discuss. But the way that I feel about the hip drop tackle, if you really want to enforce it, you need to be able to look at it the way that college football does with targeting. Even if you want to make it a thing that New York can call you and be like, hey, that was a hip drop, you need to throw a flag on this, then that's the way that it has to be. Because if you want this play out of football, you need to train these players really not to do this. And shout out to the Jets linebacker that like knew, right? He wrapped up and like he was going to drop his hips with the player and then like took his hands off and let him go. And Mason still went down anyway, like mission accomplished. You didn't have to hip drop him. But if you want this play out of football and you don't want people's getting injured, like the whole purpose of it, you need to be able to have the NFL, New York, whoever it is, be able to chime in with the referees and be like, you got to throw a flag on that. Like that was a hip drop tackle, because it's not one of those, like, what is a catch things. It's pretty clear when it's a hip drop tackle, right? You're wrapping around a defender from behind and you literally just like take your feet off.
You're going dead leg. Yeah.
Yep. And that's the way that it is. Now, I will say, I don't think it's a hip drop tackle if like, how do I say this in a way? Because there was another tackle where he wrapped him up from behind, but rather than drop his hips, like his legs kind of
swung around him. Yeah.
His legs went behind him. So he wasn't dropping his hips because his actual body, like from shoulders to toes, it was a straight line. He wasn't, it's literally that when you drop your hips and you have that leg, like you're in a sitting position, right? But this guy went like full extension and like dragged his toes essentially. That I don't feel like is a hip drop tackle because you're not actually dropping your hips. So they need to be able to determine the difference between the two and be able to call in and say, hey, that's a bad tackle. That's a hip drop tackle. We need to throw a flag on that. Otherwise, this stuff is going to keep happening. Oh yeah. Debo hold on the Mason TD run was soft as fuck.
Yeah, that was a weird call.
Mason was already there. How they do that call against Debo, but not the one where Nick Bosa is literally turned backwards and getting choked around his neck. I don't understand that shit.
Yep. It was so weird because
tell me.
And when that happened live, Tony and I it was a very, very short debate because I said if someone turns their back to the quarterback, talking about Nick Bosa because he was backwards. I was like, that's not holding. Like, he just had a spin move that failed. But Tony was like, no, Mike, he had both. He was hugging his neck with both arms. Like, okay, that's holding. So I don't know how they missed that.
It's just like, no, he arrested his spin move by holding the fuck out of him. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. Yeah. And I actually put out there, I tweeted out, I was like, look, I'm not into conspiracy theories and shit, but this is happening so much that you almost feel like it has to be on purpose at this point, that they're just not cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Nick Bosa did. I don't know if they don't like him. I don't know whatever. I don't know if he's too cool for school, or maybe it's some of the things that everybody says, everybody makes a joke about Bosa when he sees a black quarterback and all this shit. I don't know if it's that. I really don't. I don't understand why people don't like Nick Bosa. Because like, to me, the kid is the most like blasé.
Yeah.
Like, to me, his personality, no offense to Nick Bosa, it's just too cool for school in a way that I find like not compelling at all.
He's like a boiled egg.
He's a
He's
wallflower. He's a wallflower.
Yeah. He's just there. But like but that same thing kind of translates on the field, right? He's just there to play. I don't think he's dirty. I don't think he's overhyped or anything like that. He's just there to play. He's just doing his job. And I don't know how you can dislike, like, I don't know what you could possibly do to like warrant the kind of just ignoring all these calls against him. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Melissa says it's because of Joey Bosa going after the rest of taking out on the younger and healthier one.
Who knows?
How ironic was it that DeMar Hamlin knocked Tua out of the game?
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even see who it was that he ran into. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's funny with Nick Bosa. Like, he's just so milquetoast. That's the right word. Just like milquetoast just means he's boring, like in terms of like personality. Like, his literal celebration is like, they were like, hey, you need to come up with a celebration. And then he came up with this, like, I don't know what to do. And
right. Yeah.
Thing, like, I don't know what to fucking do. And that's his thing. So, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully
damn, you just reminded me of something
these
else.
superstar calls at some point or another.
Damn, there was what did you say right? Oh well, I lost it.
About
it was
the
something you just
celebration,
said.
like someone tell him to come up with a celly, and he was like, I don't know.
No, it was right before that, but I it's all right. It's not a big deal.
Oh, that he's milquetoast. Oh, DeMar Hamlin knocking out Tua.
No, I can't. I'm trying to go back. Oh well, I don't remember what it was. Damn, I got to start like making notes when I want to say something on the side. So
we're getting old, brother. We need to dictate everything.
Yeah, it's nuts. Damn, man, I had something like it wasn't anything important.
You're gonna remember that shit as soon as I sign off.
Yeah, it's cool. Don't worry about it, man.
Anyway. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here tonight, where we recap the 49ers 32-19 victory over the New York Football Jets. Aaron Rodgers rusty, Brock Purdy looking good. I think Brock Purdy is going to have an even better season this season than he did last. So, you remembered.
Of course I did.
Of course.
Yeah, I remember now. And I don't know what you said that made me remember it, but it was, did you see who appeared in most commercials in week 1? There was what NFL player appeared in the most commercials? No, it was Christian McCaffrey.
Interesting. I know I saw the one where like the little girl could like use the doll and control his arms, and then I know the one where it was like baby back
like Uber Eats or something like that. Yeah,
commercial. I saw those two. I know that Brock was in a couple of commercials too. Like I saw him in a Toyota one, a John Deere one, and was it Applebee's?
Yes, I think he's taking an order or something like that. And
yeah. It was that was Brock Purdy, and I can't remember the other guy.
Was it a running back
player? I don't know.
No, who's the running back? There was. Damn it. Because I know Campbell's in the Applebee's commercial.
It was Brock Purdy and Saquon Barkley, I think.
There you go. Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, Melissa.
Yep,
yeah. It was Saquon Barkley. Yeah. So,
and it wasn't just an hour game. It was like throughout the entire NFL. What play would, and the reason I bring that up is because I have this like old theory that I've been running with for years. When players go crazy in the offseason shooting all these commercials, they have down years. It's like they're focused on getting the endorsement money and all that. Not that. And if there's anybody that I think is more focused on playing, it's Christian McCaffrey. I think his work ethic is second to none. Right, but it's just kind of like a thing now. It's like you're out at the beginning of the season and you shot all these commercials during the offseason. It's like, this isn't good. So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing too, is guys got paid, guys had, weird off seasons, short times in playing situations, short time in camp, no practice. Shout outs to Trent Williams, who played just about every snap, although he did have to go back to the back for an IV. I was like, everybody's like, what's wrong with Trent? And I was just like, look, I saw the color of that dude's jersey. He's sweating his fucking ass off. He's either going to get fluids or he needed to take a shit. Like, but he was fine. But the way he was walking at one point, I was like, that looks like a turd walk to me, dude. It looks like he needs to take a shit, dude.
And by the way, it probably was that too. They just going to say, oh, he's going to go get an IV.
Yeah, and I'm sure he did get an IV. You know what I mean? Like, get him hydration. It's quicker than him trying to drink Gatorade and stuff like that. You can like bolus him out real quick. Bolus means like you open the full flow and just allow him to get as much fluid as you possibly can. I just really hope that they sanitized his arm before they did it, because dude was sweating, had grass all over him, had somebody else's sweat and spit all over him. So yeah,
he played well though. He played really well. Yeah. And he didn't get his normal penalty.
I thought he had a holding penalty.
I don't think he did he? I didn't think Trent had I thought the penalties were both on his counterpart on the right side. I thought they were all McKivitz.
Let's see.
I didn't think Trent got one. I was expecting one. I said, we know Trent's good for one a game, but I didn't think that he got it.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm just so expecting of him. Let's see. How do we know? Okay, NFL penalties. Let's see. Can we do
sort by team or something? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know there were a lot of penalties this weekend.
Do they have the penalties in the game log?
It just told you. It shows you total penalties. It doesn't say.
So the 49ers had 4 penalties for 40 yards. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I know that Colt McKivitz had 2 penalties. I think he had a hold, and then he had
false start.
Yep, he had a false start. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh well, that's it. I'm done. I got nothing else.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for joining us. Trent had highest PFF grade. I mean, he usually does. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh, Colton had all the offensive penalties. Him and Debo Samuel. I think the last penalty was an illegal block down field. I think it was an illegal block down field. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This was a great victory. Like to get out 1-0. Hopefully they can go to Minnesota, defeat the Vikings there for the first time since 1992. They really are entering the peak of their season in terms of being able to, get out to a really, really fast start for the season. Weeks, I think it's like 9 to 13 are the dog days of their schedule, the really tough portion of their schedule. But if they can get out to 6-7-0, 6-1, 7-0, something like that, they really set themselves up for the back half of the season, get to play themselves into shape. And with the early season seeming to be a little bit lighter in terms of difficulty, I do think that the 49ers would benefit in kind of babying Christian McCaffrey back into games. Now, if he is well enough to play, maybe you just give him, hey, you're on a pitch count, dude. We're going to get you 10 touches, and then that's it. You know what I mean? To kind of work him back into game shape, because I don't think you can just throw him out there and give him the normal Christian McCaffrey workload. I think that's a recipe for bad news. So hopefully that they can get that sorted out. Jordan Mason looks like more than serviceable. So that would be sweet.
Yeah. My last question to you. If there was a team in the division that Kyle Shanahan struggled against the way that Mike McDaniels can't beat Buffalo, would we be calling for Kyle's head?
Not if, well, it depends. Not if the results were the same. In terms of
same amount of losses, but we just lose 2.
Yeah, let's just say we lost to the Rams every time we played them, right? And it's the funniest one because McVay just gets his lunch eaten every time, except for when Jimmy's doing the whirling dervish fumble. But pretty much every time the 49ers play the Rams, it's 49ers dominating. But if it was that, let's not pretend like this is Michigan and Ohio State where Day is in the hot seat right now because he hasn't beat Michigan in 3 straight years. You know what I mean? Ohio State's going to beat Michigan this year. Michigan's going to have a down year this year. I'm a Michigan fan. We lost 33 players, a lot of those guys to the NFL, so it's going to be a down year. But
Chip Kelly, the savior.
Offense coordinator, for Ohio State now.
Yep.
And listen, shout outs to Day for being responsible enough to know that was a blind spot for him. That hey, I need this guy. But again, it's not college, it's the NFL. And I couldn't give two shits less if they lost to the Rams or Arizona twice a year, as long as they were still going to NFC Championship games and Super Bowls, because it's how it's the end of the season, not the midst of the season, right? You're gonna lose. I mean, we lost to Colt McCoy and the Cardinals that one year. You know what I mean? Like that shit happens. So divisions are always the toughest. They're always the toughest to predict out. And we always say that those division rivalries, because you play them twice, you get to know each other. And a lot of times it's 1-1 or whatever. But the 49ers have had really good seasons the last couple. But that's how it goes in the division. You'll see teams like Cleveland beat Baltimore twice. You know what I mean? And you're just like, what the fuck is this? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. But then Baltimore goes further than Cleveland does in the in the playoffs or whatever.
So, right. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Why are people calling for Mike McDaniel's head?
No, but they should. This guy doesn't beat winning teams. He'll beat up on all the bad teams in the NFL and look really dominant. But like any team with a winning record, he just struggles against. And then you can't beat. Like your first job is to win the division. It's the first job, and everyone knows this is Buffalo's division. Like everybody knows it. So,
yep. Well, listen. My wife will tell you all that shit. When she was so mad when Tua got that contract, I can't even tell you. She was pissed. She was pissed. So, and I think she's kind of getting over it. She thinks Mike McDaniel's weird. So, which he is. That's fair.
Yeah, he is.
Yep. Yeah, you got to show up, or you got to put up or shut up. Same thing with Robert Saleh. AFC East got a couple of Kyle Shanahan tree coaches, and they both look like they're on the hot seat. So we'll see what happens. But again, Mike, thank you for joining me tonight. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, guys, the Twitter handle is right here, or the X handle, sorry, Mike Andrews 83. And then make sure you guys head on over to the Patreon page, guys. It's patreon.com/NB9ERS. Shout out to the people who checked us out today on Instagram. I finally figured out how to get Instagram back up and running. So we did dual stream on Instagram and our YouTube page. So thank you all for checking us out. And again, get on over there to patreon.com/NB9ERS or become a member of the YouTube page, $9.99 over there also for exclusive, or supposed to be exclusive content.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Again, like I said, great win. We got plenty of season left. It's my favorite time of the year, football season, playoff baseball. It's all great. Right now we're talking about the 49ers, and join us again on Saturday night. I think we'll determine the time later. It's going to be around the same-ish time. I'll probably be joining a little late. I got to get, home from work and all that good stuff. Anyway, join us here because we love having you here. We love talking 49ers football with you. And until next time, go Niners.